Thank you for your patience while we have a delayed start. Good evening. It is 6:39 p.m. June 12th, 2024, and the meeting of the Urban Design Commission will now come to order. May we have a roll call, please?
Monica Sullivan. Here. Edith McKee.
Here.
Allison Gordy.
Here.
Julia Foland.
Here.
Alexandra Nanello.
Here.
Trevor Strait.
Here.
James Collis.
Here.
Ryan Lucas is excused. You have a quorum. Thank you.
May we get a motion to approve the minutes from May 22nd, 2024? It's been moved by Commissioner Gordy and seconded by Commissioner Foland. Are there any corrections to the minutes? Are there any objections to the minutes being approved? Hearing none and seeing none, the minutes are approved. Moving on to the special order of business, are there any disclosures? Commissioner Gordy?
Yes, for case 2024-0063, I just wanted to disclose that I was on the design team for Chibala Corners, the adjacent Cook Inlet Housing Authority project to the site. And I believe it's referred to in the public comment section, but I have no prior knowledge of this case and do not stand to benefit financially in any way.
Thank you. May I get a motion to direct Commissioner Gordy to participate? It's been so moved by Commissioner Foland and seconded by Commissioner Strait. Is there any other discussion?
Yes, I would like to disclosure that I was...
Not yet. Please wait. We're working on whether or not there's a conflict for Commissioner Gordy to participate.
Sorry.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Nope. Hearing none, may we please vote to direct Commissioner Gordy to participate in case 2024-0063. Thank you. Commissioner Gordy, please participate in case 2024-0063. Commissioner Nanalo?
Yes, I was not present at the previous meeting, so I will not be able to vote on the consent agenda.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Commissioner Sullivan?
Thank you. I was absent in the previous meeting, case 2024-0053, so I will not be able to participate.
Thank you. May we have a motion to approve Resolution 2024-002 on the consent agenda? It's been moved by Commissioner Gordy, seconded by Commissioner Strait. Would anyone like to pull an item from the consent agenda for discussion or corrections? Hearing none, the consent agenda is approved. So before we move on to the regular agenda, the commission received some additional information that is considered voluminous because it is exceeding 2 typed pages and was not received within 3 working days prior to the public hearing. So I'd going to take a moment for the commission to discuss whether or not to accept this information into tonight's consideration. We can open the hearing with the information in consideration and then choose to postpone if we, at that point in time, decide that it needs further consideration or evaluation to be taken under consideration as we evaluate the case. But, so for now, I'd like to have a motion or to proceed with the information that has been provided with the ability to choose to postpone later. It's been moved by Commissioner Sullivan. Would you like to speak to your motion?
Yes. I would like to make a motion to proceed with case, sorry, I lost the case. The number. Okay, it's here. Okay. I would like to make a motion to proceed with Resolution 2024-002, related case 2024-0053. I think there's a lot of information.
Point of order. Commissioner
Oh, sorry.
Sullivan, I think you're speaking to the incorrect agenda item.
Yes, sorry, I'm sleeping. Okay, I would like to make a motion to proceed with case 2024-0063. I would like to postpone because there's some conflict of interest in the notes, and I think I would like to read better the information. It's a lot of information. When we receive photos or really maps or something that is really simple to visualize at the meeting, I think we're safe to move forward. So that's it.
So that's not what was moved. So what was proposed was that we go ahead and start and open case number, that we open the case and proceed with the public hearing with the information that's been provided, including the supplemental information, with the acknowledgement that it was not provided within the 3 days ahead of time that's required, that it exceeds the 2 pages, and therefore it's considered voluminous information, that we can go ahead and open the hearing, but at any point in time, if we feel that the information that was provided in the supplemental packet that we received today needs additional consideration, that we will then stop the public hearing and make a motion to postpone 30 days to take that additional information into consideration. So what we're moving is that we go ahead and start the public hearing with what we have in front of us, including the supplemental packet, and reserve the right to make a motion to postpone later once we've started.
Perfect.
So, do I need to ask for another motion, or Commissioner Sullivan, would you?
I will raise that, yeah.
Thank you.
I would like to make a motion to start the public hearing for case 2024-002 related, oh no, sorry again, 2024-0063.
Thank you. It was seconded by Commissioner Foland. Commissioner Sullivan, would you please speak to your motion?
Yes, we just received the package with voluminous information, and we could start and move forward with reviewing, but I don't intend to support my motion.
Commissioner Foland, would you like to speak to your second?
No.
Thank you. Would any other commissioners like to speak to the motion? Okay, may we have a vote, please?
I'm so sorry. I just need to be clear on exactly what we're voting on here.
Yeah, okay, so I'll speak to the motion. The intention is a yes vote would imply that we will proceed with the public hearing tonight, considering the information that we've been given, and that at any point in time, if we feel that the supplemental information that we were just given today requires additional consideration, we can make another motion to postpone for 30 days because the petitioner has indicated in their packet that they consider the information to be critical and important, and therefore we're not disregarding it, but reserving the right to postpone 30 days.
Thank you.
Yeah. So the motion has passed. I will now move on and read the public process. So, the Urban Design Commission meets the second and fourth Wednesday of each month except holidays as regular meetings. If the Urban Design Commission fails to complete its agenda for a regular meeting, the commission carries over the remainder of the agenda to the following meeting date. The procedure by which the public may speak to the Urban Design Commission at its meeting is, 1, after the staff presentation is completed on public hearing items, the chair will ask for public testimony on the issue. 2, persons who wish to testify will follow the time limits established in the Urban Design Commission Rules of Procedure. A, petitioners, including all his, her, their representatives, will have 10 minutes. Rebuttal by the petitioner may be allowed when time has been reserved. B, representatives of groups, this includes community councils, PTAs, etc., will have 5 minutes. And C, individuals will have 3 minutes. 3, when your testimony is complete, you may be asked questions by the commission. You may only testify once on any issue unless questioned by the commission. 4, any party of interest wishing to appeal shall first file with the planning director within 7 days of the commission's decision made on the record a written notice of intent to appeal in accordance with AMC 21.03.050A.4A. Commission recommendations to the Anchorage Assembly are not appealable. Following approval of the written findings of fact and decision, any party of interest may, within 20 days, file an appeal by filing a notice of appeal and paying the appeal fee and deposit in accordance with Section 21.03.050. The notice of appeal must be filed with the planning director on a form prescribed by the municipality. If the appellant is not the applicant, the appellant's notice of appeal shall include proof of service on the applicant. Conflict or disclosure? Yeah, just request to speak. Commissioner Nanalo?
So, I would not have considered this a conflict, but based on the report that we just received, I do feel that I need to disclose my husband and I are 50% owners in a camper van rental company, which is a recreational vehicle company operating here in the state. Based on what the case before us and the consideration of conflict of interest from this other officer, I do feel I need to disclose that. I do feel I can participate in this impartially. I do feel, but based on what we have here, I did feel I need to disclose that information.
Do you have any financial gain from this particular site?
No, not from this particular site. But
do you do any business with this particular business?
no.
Okay. I'm trying to think what else. Is your business located within a reasonable distance that might cause direct competition with the existing business?
It's located here in the municipality.
Okay.
So, no, we're not like on an adjacent lot or anything, but we are operating within the municipality.
Okay. Okay. But, okay.
Yeah, that's why I was unsure, but I did feel like I needed to disclose.
Do you see that the outcome in this particular variance request would have any potential impact on your personal business interest?
No, I actually don't.
Okay. And could you be impartial if you were allowed to participate?
Yes.
Okay. May I please get a motion to direct Commissioner Nanalo to participate?
Not on mine. I'll turn this.
It's been moved by Commissioner Straight and seconded by Commissioner Folland. Is there any discussion? Commissioner Gordy?
I just wanted to say that based on the questions asked by the chair, I don't feel that there's a conflict of interest here. I think it was a good disclosure to make, but I think I will support the motion, fully confident.
Commissioner Straight, would you please state your motion?
Sure. I would like to move that Commissioner Nanalo participate in the discussion on this case, case number 2024-0063.
Commissioner Folland, would you like to speak to your motion? To your second?
No.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion? Commissioner Sullivan?
Yes, I think there's not a conflict of interest from her side, but in a way there's a conflict of interest from the presenter. So I just think it's uncomfortable for the presenter to have, I just feel that I would like to abstain probably on voting on that one.
An abstain vote in this case is not an option, so you could either vote for or against.
Okay.
Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, may we please vote to direct Commissioner Nahalo to participate in case 2024-0063. James, we need you to vote. The motion is passed. Commissioner Nall, please participate in case 2024-0063. So, I will now open the public hearing. With respect to case 2024-0063. The petitioner is requesting a design variance from AMC 21.07.080H.3 to allow a fence to exceed the maximum height requirements. May we please have staff's presentation?
Yes, thank you, Chair McKee. This is a variance request for a fence and gate height increase. Fences in the front setbacks of the R2M district shall not exceed 4 feet in height, and fences in the side or rear setbacks of the R2M setback shall not exceed 6 feet in height. The application requests a 6-foot fence and gate in the front setback and an 8-foot fence in the front and east side setback to cover a corner electrical box. The fence has already been constructed and the gate would be added if the variance is approved. The department received objections to the fence height variance from the right-of-way and code enforcement departments, the Spenard Community Council Executive Board, and Cook Inlet Housing Authority. After the staff packet was finalized, the department received an additional comment in opposition from a member of the public and some comments in support of the variance from members of the public. The petitioner has also provided additional information for the commission to review this evening, and that was discussed by the commission earlier to accept that information. The department does not find all 8 review criteria are met for the Urban Design Commission to approve of the variance request, and I will briefly summarize those 8 review criteria from the staff report. Criterion A is not met. The proposed alternatives do not achieve the intent of the subject design standard to the same or better degree. The front of the property faces other residential properties in Chugach Way, which is a local street. Criterion B is not met. The proposed alternatives do not achieve the goals and policies of the comprehensive plan to the same or better degree than the subject standard. The fence variance does not connect the subject property to the streetscape. The 2040 land use plan gives a land use designation of this property of compact mixed residential medium. And this land use designation references infill design principles and enhanced pedestrian access. The infill design principles are for building orientation and scale that creates a welcome walking environment, windows and entrances that address the street and the public realm. And this fence creates a wall and doesn't connect the property to the street. Criterion C is not met. The proposed alternative does not result in benefits to the community that are equivalent to or better than compliance with the subject standard. Public comments reflect community opposition to the fence. Criterion D is partially met. The variances will not adversely affect the use of adjacent property. Granting the variance, it will not change the use of adjacent properties, but the fence does break the connection to the street, and it's not in character with the surrounding properties. Criterion E is not met. The subject site is on a local street surrounded by other R2M properties. Other properties facing Chugach Way do not have fences this tall in the front setback, including another manufactured home community that's a few blocks up on Chugach Way. The variance is not in character with the R2M district. Criterion F is met. The variances are not related to ADA accessibility or reasonable accommodation. Criterion G is not met. The variances adversely affect public health, safety, and welfare. Approval of the variance could indicate to other property owners that they could adjust the grade in their right-of-way. Also, a tall fence and gate in the front setback could create a sightline issue when vehicles are exiting the site, or it could potentially impede first responders that would need to get over the fence to respond in an emergency. Criterion H is met. The variances do not relate to signs. Therefore, the department recommends denial of the design variance for the fence and gate height. However, if the commission finds that all 8 standards are substantially met, then the department recommends approval of the design variance subject to conditions 1 through 3 in the staff report. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions of staff? I have a question for staff. Was the sight distance for turning vehicles checked? It says it could create a sightline issue, and then when I looked in the staff packet, the traffic engineering had no objections to approving, so I didn't know whether traffic had gone out and actually checked sight distance.
Thank you, Chair McKee, for the question. Traffic engineering did not go and directly check the sight line. That was what I thought of when I went on a site visit, because the fence is pretty tall, and I was imagining like the addition of this tall gate. So no, that's it's not something that was checked by the traffic engineering department, but that was my evaluation after visiting the site.
Great, thank you. And then I had one other question was, it says that it's currently a local street. There is significant development happening on Chugach Way. Do we anticipate the roadway designation to change? And if it were to change, would that then change the height of fence that would be allowed?
1 second, Chair McKee, let me just grab a piece of paper that I had to reference.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so the first question, as far as future development on Chugach Way, I did communicate with the AMATS manager just to ask about the Chugach Way plan or project that was referenced in a comment from the Spenard Community Council Executive Board. It looks like it's still in the early stages. I don't think I could deduce if in the future Chugach Way would move above a local street. The cutoff is 2,000 average annual daily vehicles. Excuse me if I get the exact wording wrong, but it's 2,000 like cars or trips per day on that street is the cutoff. So if Chugach Way had a traffic increase that would go above that, then I would imagine that in the official streets and highways plan, the classification of the roadway could change, but I don't have information to answer the likelihood of that happening at this point. And then your second question on if the street would change classification. So the thing I grabbed was I had the fence height in chapter 21.07 in front of me just for reference. It does say the director may approve of fences in secondary front setbacks if they abut streets of arterial or greater, or if the property owner shows the fence is necessary, but both of those are within secondary front setbacks. So that's a situation that occurs on corner lots where you have you have two fronts on the lot, so there's a primary and a secondary front setback. However, this lot is not a corner lot. The only developed right-of-way it faces is Chugach Way. So I don't anticipate that an increase in classification of Chugach Way would allow for that option to go up to 6 feet within a front setback. And I believe that answered your questions, but let me know if there's any more.
You did, thank you. Commissioner Folland?
I have a question about the use of the site. So the manufactured home community is illegally non-conforming, but then for the storage yard, the not legally non-conforming, can you explain what that means?
Yes, Commissioner Folland. So there was a non-conforming determination, so I took that information from that determination for the uses. So it means what you said basically. For the use is that the storage yard is not legally non-conforming, whereas the manufactured home community is. However, I'll remind the commission tonight that the use is a totally separate matter. So the the only decision of the Urban Design Commission tonight is for the fence height. I did mention it because I thought it was good background information, but I would urge the commission to really focus on the fence height and the 8 review criteria for the design standards, and not to consider any other use determinations, because we're not deciding if the use of the site is legal tonight. It's just the fence height.
Okay, great, thank you.
Commissioner Sullivan?
Hi, through the chair. I have a question. In the new information that I'm trying to digest, they submitted the Great Plain code. When we're talking about Great Plain and the midpoint, do the fence applies to that code?
Commissioner Sullivan, I referenced comments from code enforcement where there was dirt added to the base of the fence, and so so when you measure from the top of the ground, it makes the fence shorter, and the plane photo actually supports where you wouldn't measure from where that dirt was built up. You should measure where the base of the ground is. There were also some issues where the fence was constructed on the property line, so if you're putting dirt on the side of the fence facing the road, you're doing work in the right of way without a permit. So that was the code enforcement issue. I guess did that answer the question you were hoping?
Yes, I just was wondering if there's a big natural change of plane in the site other than what they did. I don't see anything.
Commissioner Sullivan, I would direct you to the comments from code enforcement. So that's the information we were given. In my site visit, I will say it does look like it might be recent. There is grass growing on that plane now, but there aren't other properties that have that like little slope where the fence is. So that's the information I have for that question on the grade.
Thank you.
Commissioner Sullivan, within our original packet that we received on page 58 and 59, there is a dated photo that shows the fill that was added on the street side or within the
Yes,
MOA right-of-way.
and I saw that one,
Oh,
but I
okay.
was wondering if the site has a change on plane from one side to another one. That was
Okay.
my question.
I see what you're asking.
And one thing is that they are violating the code by putting some dirt, but if there's a change on the side, you consider the midpoint of that height. So I was wondering if that applies to fences.
Yeah. Thank you. Commissioner Gordy?
I just had a quick question. I noticed that right-of-way did not support the variance, but they did not provide very much information, just kind of a one-sentence response. Did I miss anything in the packet where they had a larger explanation?
Commissioner Gordy, no, you did not miss anything. They just said they didn't support it, but didn't expand further. I did have a conversation from someone in right-of-way, and I don't want to, I suppose what they submitted is their comment. They felt that's all they needed to submit for just the fence height variance request.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions of staff? Seeing none, will the petitioner please come forward? Please state and spell your name for the record. You will have 10 minutes to present. And would you like to reserve any of your time for rebuttal? There's a microphone, it's got a little green button on there. Yep,
Yes.
there we go, thank you. It got turned back off. It was on for a moment. There you go. Now it's on.
Okay, son?
Yep.
Okay. My name is Juan Marqueda. I'm the CEO and president of Alaska RV Trip that owns the property on 1115 Chigach Way. And yes, I would like to reserve some time for rebuttal.
How much time would you like to reserve?
Probably, I was think 5 minutes.
Okay, 5 minutes. And then I need you to also spell your name for the record.
Sure, Marqueda.
Great, thank you. Go ahead.
Yes, I would like to first ask the commission to consider the letter of request of dismissal of code enforcement. And one of the major things is a lot of the things that were put on the report are unfounded. Some of them have been put in here into the report of alleged they might be hiding some illegal activities behind. There's also been accusation of increase of adding dirt, but that was never backed by any actual reports from right away. It does mention a testimonial forum right away during the hearing, yet I presented what the hearing and what the right away officer actually testified to. He never testified to the dirt being added. He only testified to the size. So there's a lot of could be, should, might be, but nothing has been actually been presented with actual truth. And that's why I wanted to make sure that that report, it's nulled with its information in it. And I wanted to add that the fence actually was previously a fence there, and we only replaced it after there was a truck that crashed into it. And when we asked land and planning, not only myself, but also the construction company, and you see the letter from them as well on the additional package, it was confirmed by land and planning that we didn't require a permit if it was up to 8 feet fence. So we built that 8 feet fence. Eventually, code enforcement came in and told us that it would be 6 feet. And there's also a copy of the testimonial during the hearing where they admitted that the wrong information was given. So after giving the wrong information of 6 feet, I asked the company to lower it, but they couldn't do it until October. And during this process, we had meetings, several meetings with Senator Elvie Gray Jackson and Felix Rivera, because I was feeling that there was just really kind of unfair treatment. And at this point, I didn't know that the code enforcement had a competition business. That now I feel that there was a reason why it was coming so hard on us. Her manager did say at that meeting that they will work with me, given that they gave me the wrong information, and they will not try to fine me. Yet $110,000 were fined to me, or to me personally. And during the hearing, actually, a lot of those allegations came down to only $3,000, and it was based on not getting a permit on the fence and keeping the fence 6 feet for, I believe it was 14 days, something like that. All the other allegations did not find enough to fine me for those. But so this has been a very stressful situation because I've been trying to do, first of all, keep the property safe before putting the fence, and also I added pictures. There was a lot of break-ins. We probably had about 3 to 4 break-ins every day, and they were still in copper tubing. They actually cut off some of the electrical cables, and I show pictures too. All the work we had to do to replace that was a substantial work. They will shut off the gas meter and steal the copper pipes. So it was really troublesome. When the car ran over the fence, I saw an opportunity to actually be able to provide a better fence. And it was the management from code enforcement that actually directed us to apply for a variance, and they have promised to be working with us. And that's why I applied for the variance. We did not build something knowingly that it should have been lower, and we actually, through the pictures I show, the claim that it's higher than the gray line, I show some post and the mailbox also to show the height in reference. And the construction company also referenced, I believe it was part of the title, that determines how it should be measured. So all I'm asking is to allow for the fence to stay the way it has been.
Would you like to continue, or would you like to save your 5 minutes that you have?
Probably 30 more seconds.
Okay.
Should be able to. So all I'm asking is for the fence to be, it's actually 1 inch lower than what it used to be on one side, and is 4 inches higher than what it used to be on the other side, and the pictures will show that. There's an 8-foot, code enforcement said it's a fence. It's only a cover to the electrical box, and it would just make no sense to build a fence and leave that ugly cover of the electrical box. And on the corner also, we just increased it to 8 feet to not allow people that were breaking in through that corner and stealing the cable. So all I'm asking is to allow us to continue the way it is. It's a well-designed, it does cover all the requirements that stipulated. And the support from the community, it shows a high amount of support versus just of the few that have, they're not in agreement with it. So I'd like to ask the commission to please allow us to keep it.
So you ended up with 4 minutes remaining, just so that you know.
Okay.
Are there any questions of the petitioner? Commissioner Nanalo?
Yes, I'm sorry. So you're saying that you were originally told that an 8-foot fence in this space was acceptable, and that you have that in writing as part of your packet. Can you I am trying to actually find that piece of the packet where you say you were told, you have it in writing that 8 feet was acceptable. Can you direct me to where that is, please?
Yeah, I didn't say that I had in writing from the land and planning, from the construction company.
Okay.
That inquired from land and planning as well as myself.
Okay, so it was verbally that you inquired from
Yes.
land and planning?
And this was my first time dealing with land and planning. Now I know that everything should be in writing.
I understand. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question. So I'm looking through the packet, and there's a series of photos, and you mentioned that the fence was, you corrected the height to 6 feet? Is that correct?
Correct. We lower on October 16 to 5.9. It's actually 1 inch below 6.
Okay. So the picture that we have in our packet on page 65 shows a fence. So this picture on page 65 of our packet, it's dated May 21st of 2024. This is the new adjusted fence height to 6 feet. Is that correct?
I'm not sure if it's this one.
No, I'm looking at, I'm sorry, your packet might be numbered differently than ours. I'm looking at this one.
On my package. Is that from the original package
Yes,
that was
this is
submitted?
from our original packet.
And what was the question again? I'm sorry.
I'm just asking for you to confirm that this is the final height. This is the 6-foot height. The fence is now at 6 feet.
That's correct.
Okay. And that's 6 feet above the fill? Or is that 6 feet to the original ground?
Correct. And just to be clear, our property line goes all the way to the edge here. The fence was built within our property, and I don't know if you have the video.
I'm not supposed to.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You can, a point of order, Mr. Marqueta, you still have your 4 minutes of rebuttal, so you could request that I play the video that you'd like during those 4 minutes.
Okay. Yeah, so the answer to that is the 5.9 from the original property line grade, and on the video I'll ask later to play, will show from the interior of the fence the grade of the property where it has always been.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Straight?
Yes, I'm hoping you can help me out. I'm trying to get straight in my head, kind of the timeline of events here. So someone hit the fence at some point, and that's when we decided to upgrade the fence, right? What time frame did that happen in? What year did that happen? Do you recall?
It was, I don't recall. I know it probably was on somewhere in the pictures. Yeah, and if I can pull it out, probably know the exact date because the pictures show that.
Okay.
The date.
So hit the fence, you talked to the construction company, and they came out and put up an 8-foot fence. Do you know when that occurred?
Yeah, actually that was around July, I think it was about July 17, 2023.
Okay. And then after that, following that, you were contacted by enforcement about the height of the fence, and you had the contractor come out in October, is that correct, to cut down
The
top of
contact
the
was
fence?
actually July 17. It was actually done while it was being built, so it
Okay.
had not even been built completely.
Okay. And then in October timeframe, the contractor cut down the top of the fence, is that correct?
That's correct,
Okay.
to 5.9 foot.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Commissioner Nanalo?
Sorry, I have a couple points of clarification here. One of them is for staff. The first question that I have is there any consideration given for a change in grade during the winter if snow storage is being used adjacent to someone's property? Because that seemed to be a point of contention in this where essentially there was a significant change in grade because snow storage is used on the, and again, I'm a little confused on this. It sounds like on the other side of this fence. Is that correct, sir? Is snow being stored on a portion of your fence changing the grade and making the fence shorter for a period of time, or is that incorrect?
Clarify that question.
So what I'm trying to determine is if there is a portion of the year where essentially the ground height changes for the purpose of this fence. And the reason I'm asking that is, so if it's, a certain height in the summer and a different height in the winter because snow is stored up against your fence, I would like to understand that. So is that happening here in this situation, or is snow being stored in a different area? Is snow stored by the municipality when they plow the street against this fence that you've put up in the winter?
Okay. Commissioner Enalo?
Yeah.
So yes, that is correct. When the winter comes, the city piles all the snow against that fence, and it goes up to 10 feet. That's why we're requesting that 4 feet will not do anything. It would actually throw all the snow over to our property, which even at 10 feet, 8-foot fence would still happen. And we have electrical, we also have a gas meter, and we also have a well house. And that's why we're asking for that extra increase. Because
Okay.
it will go over to that, and it could potentially destroy that.
Commissioner Nanalo, there's a picture in page 31 and 32 of our packet that shows the height from the municipal side. It labels Chugach Way and shows the snow against the fence from the street side.
Right, and I'm just asking, trying to determine, is this anomalous, or is this like a continuing, this happens every winter?
Yeah.
That this essential grade is different. It's not, different from the summer.
Yeah.
And then, I'm sorry, so back to staff, I was just trying to determine, first of all, if this was a thing, and second, is there any consideration given for that essentially change of grade in the winter, yes or no?
Commissioner Nanalo, no, because I suppose to think about like how every single street in the
It's too
municipal-
variable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. And I'm sorry, so the other point of clarification I have for you now, and I think it's been said, but I just want to make sure I completely understand, and I hope you forgive me here if I'm making you repeat yourself, but the fence height, as it stands right now, is just under 6 feet. And is that due, I'm looking at the pictures. So I'm looking at the picture on page 65 of our packet, and there's a no parking sign over to the side of it, and I'm just using that as a point of reference. And then there appears to be some fill, some dirt, that's been, page 65 of our packet, that's been added to the bottom of the fence here. And there's two questions I have. One, is this, when Commissioner Straight talked to you, you mentioned that the fence line has been brought down, has been cut down. And so how much was actually cut off of the fence? And also, what is the change in grade from this point, and I'm asking if you know this, and the answer to this question, from where the sign goes into the ground versus where the fence starts? Do you see what I'm asking? What is the difference between this height and this height right here?
Right. So let me answer the first question. What was the first question? Whether this...
How much of the fence was actually cut? You told Commissioner Straight just now that the fence was cut down from off the top. A portion of the top of the fence was cut down. How much was actually cut off of the fence?
A little bit over 2 feet, 2.2 feet.
Okay, so 2.2 feet was cut off the top of the fence.
Correct.
And at its highest, how tall was that fence?
8 feet.
8 feet?
Yep.
Okay, so then what is the difference in height from the no parking sign, where the no parking sign goes into the ground, versus where this fill is up against? Because what I want to check is, when you measure the height of this fence, are you measuring from the top of the fill to the top of the fence as it goes right now? Or is essentially the height that, where is top of grade being taken from?
Let me just take a look at one picture to reference to answer.
Thank you.
So if you take a look at picture 47 as well.
Okay. Just give me a moment. Okay, I'm looking at that.
So the measurement is done from our property line, from within inside the fence. And if you look at the old fence, that post, we left it there, so that could be a good reference of the height. And it's just a visual effect on this picture to make it look like we added to the grade, but we did not. If you look at the fence now versus the fence before in the mailbox, that will give you the good reference of what the actual heights are. So regardless of how much I would have, suppose that I would have added grade to that other side,
Yeah.
the height of the fence doesn't change because our property grade has not changed.
Okay.
And it's always being measured from inside the fence, not from the outside. I'm sorry if I'm
You've always,
confusing you.
I understand. So you're saying when you've measured the height of this fence, you've measured from inside the fence, not the outside of the fence where the fill was added?
Correct. And there was
Okay.
no fill added.
No, okay. All right. You answered my question. Thank you very much. Yeah, sorry, that was a lot.
Commissioner Folland?
Through the chair, I have a question for the petitioner. Page number 45, is that on your site with the moose?
Correct.
Okay. So I'm just confused. Are there mobile homes on this site right now?
There is.
Okay. Because some of the pictures, this one shows RVs and the other ones don't, so I'm just trying to orientate.
Sure. And that's also for a different hearing, but the original purpose of this property.
I'm just trying to figure out.
Sure. It's always been a trailer court, meaning recreational vehicles. When we did the cleanup, we removed about 3 old mobile homes.
So
And
on this picture right now, is the gate like
it's
towards
there.
us?
No,
Where you want to put the gate and the street, Chugach Way is this way, and Fish Creek is behind the moose?
So on picture 45, where the duplex is on the back,
Yep.
that's where the Fish Creek is.
Got it, okay.
And on this side is where the fence will be, and
Okay.
that's where the moose is entering from.
Okay.
Especially with the big snow berm.
And then, so on the right-hand side, on the east side, is there currently an 8-foot-high fence, and is that part of the variance? Does that
On the
8-foot-high fence?
On the east side?
Yeah, does that go the entire, like, the whole east side of the property?
Page 42.
No, I'm just looking at the site plan.
Oh, on page 42, we'll show that the fence, the only 8-foot part variance that we're asking is behind the electrical box. And the reason why is because we were told that that's considered fence.
Okay, just a
And-
little bit on Chugach Way and a little bit on the other side,
And a little bit on the
east side?
east side, yeah.
And then what happens the rest of the east side? Is it drops down to 6 feet?
No, actually, the fence has always been 8 feet. It's an old fence from back in the 70s.
Got it, okay.
You can see it on page 43 barely. That's the 4-foot fence where people will break in, and then right next to it, there's the 8-foot fence that starts all the way to the back.
And that was there before you did
Yeah.
anything? Got it, okay.
Correct.
Okay, that was it.
Commissioner Straight?
Yeah, we've been talking about the fence a lot, the height of the fence. I want to try to focus on what we're here about today is a variance, design variance from the standards. And so perhaps you can, and I know you've talked about this some, why your property that we're discussing today, you're requesting this design variance for the height of the fence. I think that the height of the fence itself is probably falls more in an enforcement side, whether it's 6 foot out there today, 4 foot out there today. I think what we need to focus on is kind of the design variance side of this. So the standard that we're looking at calls for a 4-foot fence across the front of the property. And so I want to hear in your own words kind of why your property needs this variance, I guess. Yeah.
Sure. There's a well house on the west side, and when there was a 4-foot fence on the other side, so there's always been a 6-foot fence on that side, but we had a lot of break-ins all the time. They were actually getting into the well house, and that's where the whole water for the whole supply of the park is. So we needed that added security. If we bring it down to 4 feet, anybody could just jump into the other side. And then on the other side, on the west side, there's the electrical box. There's also the gas meter. And when we had a 4 feet corner people were breaking in, I would say 2 to 3 times a day. Since we put the fence, we've only had probably about 3 break-ins in the whole 7 months, 8 months. So it achieves that. And then on the winter time, all the snow that gets piled against our fence, if it was a 4-foot fence, all the snow would just go over into our property that we are already putting some snow there, but it would just increase the weight into the gas meter and into the electrical box. So it's a safety issue as well. Not to add that every time we go out, there's a duplex in front of us, so the 4-foot fence does nothing for the headlights to shine into the neighbors' windows. And they've complained that before we put it up to 6 feet when it was like empty after the truck crashed in. And mainly is to, as other properties, they have clear vision of the front porch or the front house. In this case, we are adding the next series of manufactured homes, and they all laid sideways. So there's no clear vision into the entrance. A 4-foot fence will just allow anybody to break in, and nobody will know. The moose, like I showed, will break in. So it is a safety concern, a security concern, and we built it in a way that it will look nice and will also look similar to other properties around the neighborhood. And on the video also shows that fences around the neighborhood.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
I have a question, and it might be for staff, it might be for you. Is the snow that's being stored against your fence, what is the offset from the fence to where your property boundary is? So, some dirt material was placed, whether that was to restore it to existing ground or whether it was additional fill, that if it occurred within your property boundary, I don't know. The other question I have is the municipality storing snow within your property boundary against your fence? So what is the offset from that fence to the border of your property?
It's actually about 13 foot from
Okay.
the fence to the street, and we measured that before.
But to where your boundary is of your property? Because I'm assuming there's a sidewalk there, so the sidewalk wouldn't necessarily be your property boundary, or what's the offset from your fence to where the border of your property?
So there's no sidewalk, and our property line kind of lays all the way down to where it says no parking. The fence is always just kind of being within the 13 feet of our property line, and on the as-built it shows that our property line actually carries all the way to the street.
Okay.
And it's about 13 point something feet from that fence to the beginning of our property line.
So that snow storage is occurring on your private property?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Folland?
Through the chair, could I request to see the video? Is that of staff? Or how long is it? Oh, got it.
It would-
I can give a point of order. I just I have not seen the video. I just looked at the end. It looks like it's an 11-minute video. Is that correct, Mr. Marqueta?
Originally, yes, and just so I can make clarifications of that. The report was not given to me up to like 5 days before the hearing, and I understand that I should have more time in order to prepare. That video was supposed to be provided as part of a package for you guys to view before the hearing. It is 10 minutes, but we could actually forward the part that shows part of the fence and maybe the other properties with the fences like that. That's kind of what I wanted to focus on.
I'll give a point of order to the commission. It seems like it would be part of your, of the petitioner's presentation to the commission, and so it would count for your 10 minutes. So I'd be happy to, I can play it if you would like, Mr. Marqueta, during your rebuttal, and I can give you the control to fast forward, but that's staff's opinion, I guess, on that question.
We're going to have it be part of your rebuttal, and that way we might have questions. Oh, sorry. Commissioner Foland, you still have the floor.
That was all. Thank you.
Thanks. Okay. Are there any other questions of the petitioner? Okay, I will now open the hearing to public testimony. Is there anyone here wishing to testify? Yep. Please come forward. Please state and spell your name for the record, and then whether or not you're testifying as an individual or as a representative of a group.
My name is Oleksandr Lushchik, or Olex. That's spelled Oleksandr. My last name is Luschchyk, and I'm testifying as an individual.
Thank you.
Should I press the button to start the timer? Is that how that works?
She
Please.
starts.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, good evening. My name's Olex. I live right down the corner of Cope Street on Chugach Way. I'm right by 39th and Cope, so I'm on the little map that was provided. I received this letter in the mail, and I wasn't sure what it was about. And then I remembered that I was actually given a petition on change.org that a friend forwarded to me about cleaning up a neighboring lot to beautify it, to keep criminals and drug fiends off of a property, and so that a fence was necessary to do that. So I don't know if you've all seen this petition, but that's how I found out about this originally. And that's kind of spoke oddly to me. As someone that's been living there for 4 years, I've cleaned a lot of junk off my property. There are a bunch of old stuff that was on there that I've cleaned out. But I don't see that the way to having a stronger, better community down the road is to build taller fences. Whether your fence is 4 feet, 5 feet, 6 feet, 8 feet tall, you're still going to have people jump over it if you have vacant buildings on your property that are not being occupied. So as long as you have people living in these places, I haven't had any break-ins in 4 years, and my fence is 4 feet tall all the way around my property. I live right down the corner, or down the street. I think the way that another thing that Mr. Marqueta mentioned was increasing property values in the area, and I don't think taller fences is something that's going to do that. Property values, as I understand, are based off how much people want to live in this neighborhood, and if everyone down Chugach Way puts up a 6 or 8 foot tall fence, it turns into a big alley that no one wants to live down. So I think it's about opening up the neighborhood and making it look palatable to people, having neighbors that actually want to walk around and be on the streets. So I've been on the Planning Commission for Chugach Road and Spinard Road to try to make our streets walkable and safe for people rather than putting up taller fences. Let's see if there's anything else. Regarding the fill that was added to the fence, I can personally say that driving by last summer, I drive down Chugach Way every day to work, and one day noticed that there was fill added to the fence, so I can personally testify that because I thought that was very odd. As a carpenter, that's not something I would have ever done with a fence, but I found it interesting enough to remember at the very least. I guess to finish my testimony, I'm speaking out in opposition to this variance, as I think that we should, rather than put up taller fences on our street, have the fences that are allowed by our muni and try to make our neighborhoods safer and more interesting to live in rather than just putting up walls for, yeah, that's what I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else wishing to testify? Yep, please come forward. The same. Please state and spell your name and then indicate if you're testifying as an individual, as a representative of a group.
My name is Elizabeth Kronz, spelled Elizabeth and I am testifying as an individual.
Great. Thank you. Go ahead.
Following what Alex has put into motion, I live in the same property and a different building, and I have walked down Chugach most of the year as I do not drive. And I can say that as a pedestrian on these streets, I haven't ever been harassed or assaulted, and I don't think that overt criminal behavior is something that I've dealt with living in this place. And, you know, through the years that I have been a resident in this area, I don't think that I needed a taller fence to protect myself, my property, or those items or belongings around my property. I think that as far as beautifying and protecting your property goes, there are other ways beyond building fences to bring a more beautiful neighborhood. And one of the things that we do on our property is we plant raspberry bushes, which is a thorny bush. It's along the fence. It makes it discouraging for people to jump that property line because nobody wants to land on a bunch of thorns. And we don't have to build an 8-foot tall fence to prevent people from coming into our property. I firmly believe that if you're trying to add to the community, there are ways to build longer tables rather than taller fences and be more inviting to the community rather than forbidding access and visibility. Everybody deals with snow, everybody deals with headlights and other lights. I myself have apartment buildings next door that we can very clearly see their lights on the parking lot. They shine right into my bedroom, but we have a curtain for that. There are other alternatives beyond just building fences for the problems that are being brought up here. And I am speaking out in opposition to this motion because it doesn't make any sense for this community. Thank you.
My name is Julie Leonard.
Hold on just a moment. Just a moment. Commissioner Nanalo?
So I have a question from earlier. I'm so sorry. This is a point of clarification for me. So the purpose of this, the purpose that this lot is currently being used for is not in our purview, correct?
Correct.
Even if it is given as a reason for why the fence height is what it is, we still cannot ask about that? Sorry.
I mean, we can ask about it.
Okay.
But, I mean, we have to apply the standards and determine if the standards are met to grant the variance.
Right. And I guess the point of clarification for me, based on the staff report, is that the standards for this neighborhood are purely for a residential purpose. Is this correct?
Commissioner Nanalo, through the chair, yes, this is within the R2M zoning district, so
Right.
it's single and two-family, and all of the surrounding properties are also within the R2M district.
Okay, so family residences exclusively are supposed to be in an R2M district, yes?
Yes,
Or
that, I'm sorry.
residential, this district is for residential purposes, this zoning area.
Commissioner Nanalo, through the chair, yes, that is correct. It's a residential zoning district. To go through each use, I'd have to look at the use table, but it
That's-
is correct. The purpose and intent of the zoning district is for residential, not for commercial or industrial. It's for
And not-
residential,
okay.
potentially mixed use.
Okay. Well, I'm so sorry. Mixed use, what falls under mixed use? I do need a point of clarification on that because I do think it has potential to impact this. So what qualifies as mixed use here? I'm sorry.
One moment, I just want to go back to Commissioner Nanalo. I want to go back to my laptop because then I have the code book open in
Yep.
front of me.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Nanalo, through the chair, I have open the table of allowed uses, so that's chapter 21.05. I guess I mentioned, so there's different categories of residential uses. A mixed-use dwelling is actually not permitted in this zoning district. You could have multifamily, so that's over 2 units. Potentially, there's certain circumstances where it's permitted or where you would need an administrative site plan review. Single family and 2-family are permitted outright. Manufactured home community is permitted in this zoning district with conditionally, so you need a conditional use permit. This one has a non-conforming determination for the existing manufactured home community because it could not meet the use-specific standards for a manufactured home community today if a conditional use permit were applied for. So it has non-conforming rights for that. And I guess if I hang on. If I scroll down in the use table, I could look at other uses, but that is in general the response for residential and for a mixed-use dwelling. I suppose when I said mixed use, I meant it for, I suppose I'm looking to see, perhaps I shouldn't have said that because I didn't mean to mix up the code definition of a mixed-use dwelling with what I said. And I believe the staff report has the purpose and intent of the R2M district. I can look and see what page that's in, because I did think that was important for the evaluation of the variance request.
Okay, so then this is being, sorry, what page are we looking at? Yeah, I have that up, yeah.
And lastly, to answer your question, Commissioner Nanalo, it's, I believe it's page 5 of the staff report, yes?
Yes, I'm looking at it right now.
Okay, yeah, for
Subsection
standard E, where the design variance must not change the character of the zoning district where the property is located, and so I put the purpose and intent of the R2M district. And I suppose it says a mix of both detached and a variety of attached dwelling types, etc. You can look in the staff report, but
Sure.
yeah, but this property is residential and the surrounding property are residential. So that should be your thought in when you're evaluating criterion E.
Okay.
So I guess now I also have a question, because it's saying standard E, so I'm directing this to staff, standard E is not met, but it is a mobile home park, which would technically be a detached dwelling. Is that correct?
No, Chair McKee. There are specific code definitions for uses, so a detached single-family home, hang on, let me move my code book one more before I speak so I can speak
Sorry.
clearly.
Just because now it says the R-2M district provides residential neighborhoods with a greater diversity of housing, allowing a mix of both detached and a variety of attached dwelling types in close proximity to each other.
Yes, that is correct, Chair McKee. So if I look at the table of allowed uses, so categories for household living, a category is a detached single-family dwelling. You can also have an attached single-family dwelling, so that I'm speaking from my recollection, not looking at the direct code definition, but basically an attached single-family dwelling is you share a wall, and then detached is where you don't share a wall. A manufactured home community is a totally separate use category from both an attached and detached single-family development. And the manufactured home community is only conditionally allowed in this zoning district, whereas both an attached and detached single-family dwelling units are permitted outright in the R2M district, so they don't need, they're permitted.
So just for clarification regarding item E, it's that the fence, so it says in here that the other properties facing Chugach Way do not have fences in violation of the height standard. So it's not that a fence is not allowed, it's that a fence of this particular height is not allowed.
Chair McKee, yes, that is correct. A 4-foot fence is permitted within the front setback, and a 6-foot fence is permitted within the side and rear setback. And that is true for this property and all of the surrounding properties because they're in the same zoning district, unless there's something particular about the lot, as I mentioned, the corner lots. But the department found that this criterion was not met because the fence height did not meet code, and it was different from other properties that are within the same zoning district, including a manufactured home community that is just up the road.
Okay, thank you. Right, my mind, I struggle with this one a little bit also because it says it does not change the character. If there were several other properties with 8-foot fences in the area, would this then have been met or not met?
If there were several properties that had 8-foot fences, Chair McKee, that may have changed the evaluation of this standard, or if perhaps it may be if there were 8-foot fences around. I guess just one point of order. I'll just remind the commission that we're at public testimony. So I feel like we're starting to move here into the discussion, and so I would urge the commission to finish hearing public testimony and then move into your discussion, and you can ask further questions of staff.
Thank you. Thank you for putting us back on track. Because there was a person in the audience who would like to testify. Please come forward. I apologize for delaying you.
That's okay.
Please state and spell your name for the record, and then...
Julie Leonard, Julie Leonard. And just to move this back a bit, Cook Inlet invested in our community. They have, in one of their properties, there is a 3.5 to 4 foot fence surrounding one of their properties. Another of their properties adjacent or just down the road from Mr. Marqueta's property has no fencing at all. The snow, we're all dealing with snow. The snow falls over my fence, which is 4 feet. I have moose that walk into my yard. I have caught people around, I've got 2 huge birch trees. I live around the corner. I've caught people in my property trying to smoke whatever it is they're smoking. Hey, get off my lawn. We all in Anchorage, wherever we live, are dealing with stuff that we don't want to deal with. But if we all built 8 to 10 foot fences, where do we live? I mean, what does that do to our community? I know that Mr. Marqueta has said that he is looking to beautify the neighborhood. He wants his beautiful property. That's great. But a 6-foot fence does not beautify property. I've been a member of the Spenard Community Council for years. I've one time only seen Mr. Marqueta at one of our meetings. I would encourage him that if he is concerned about crime on the street or snow or anything on the property, come to the meetings. Together we can find a solution. An individual looking to block their property off from the rest does not beautify a neighborhood. It is not inviting at all. I am against an 8-foot fence. I'm against a 6-foot fence. I don't have it in my property. I've lived in that area for 20 years. I've never had a break-in. Is there crime around Anchorage? Absolutely. Is it specific to the Spenard neighborhood? Absolutely not. If we all built fences, where would we be? I mean, I don't think that's an answer. I could go on and on. I could do this for hours, but I won't. I know that my neighbor has tried to run an RV lot in the property. And my thoughts, a fence hides the fact that you want to run an RV lot, which is not allowable. Have there been accidents on the roads? Absolutely. Has there been accidents on other people's property? Absolutely. Do we all build fences? And if we build a wooden fence, do we now go to iron fences? I mean, where does it all stop? If you want to build a community, but a fence is not a community. That's all I want to say. Unless I have more time, which I don't because it's dinner time. Thank you.
You have 6 seconds.
How much left? Just kidding. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other members of the public wishing to testify? I'm not seeing any. Would the petitioner like to use their remaining time for rebuttal? Yes, I would. Please come forward.
While she's doing that, can I use some of the time and then stop?
Yeah.
No, it's okay. Don't worry about it. Yeah, and if we can just forward. There's a part where I'm coming out of the property, actually.
Has he started?
If you could. Yeah. You can go forward.
Okay, we're going to start the time.
Okay, I need to forward it to the.
Yeah, because, yeah, we can't. I mean, it's, otherwise you're basically showing us the video. So we either need to start your time or we need to get to the. Okay, please start his time. Thank you.
Okay, so first I would like to review some of the testimonies on Julius Leonard. She actually, her sister is the one that has trespassed in our property several times, Jerry Leonard. And that's actually why she initiated the complaints with land and planning or with the code enforcement and where all this started. So yes, we have crime, and they have testified that they also deal with crime. And through later on in the video, it's going to show actually their street, their property. It's actually kind of closed down on 39 from traffic on Chugach, where all the drugs and the prostitution goes. So their level of crime in their area is very low compared to what we have to go through. I agree. I wish I could have the property open for everybody to come in, and we're building something nicer, and I would like to have amenities for the community. I'm a strong believer that in the future, I believe in Bible prophecies, and one of the prophecies says that there'll be the time that there'll be no more crime and there'll be no more injustice. But until then, we still have to protect ourselves somehow. And when I have 3 to 4 break-ins every single day, I do need some protection for my property and also for my tenants. As I testified before, different than apartments, they have a main lock on the door, or properties they have a setback and they have a clear view of the street. Our property, the tenants will not have a clear view. So they will be exposed to people walking in through their backyard or breaking in. And that's the reason that I'm asking for the variance is not to put up a 6-foot fence, or how they call it many times, 8-foot fence, 10-foot fence. So a lot of these things are thrown out to kind of change the perspective. What the reality is, as you can see, it's an open space to my property. You can see to my property. So accusations of me running an RV business out of my property, or that there's going to be some kind of criminal activity inside that nobody will see, that's just claims, bogus claims. The fact they said that, this is where I'm driving out into the property. And you can see a lot of the fences around my property. Also, Spinard Community Council, I provided a letter in the additional package where they specified that the comments that they made were not based on the public. It was just on the board of directors, where Ms. Julie Leonard is a member of. And again, her sister has trespassed, and I feel that there's been some type of retaliation for that. You will find the letters of people that do support it, which are people that live in front of us, next to us, close to us. People have opinions, and I respect them. And one of the opposition said that it looks ugly. She did mention if I had a mural in it, it probably looked different. So that is something I might consider. But I did not create a fence out of wanting to and now asking a variance. That was based on information that was given by code enforcement. All I'm asking now is to please allow us to keep it the same way. I'm not trying to increase the height. And as you can see in this is just going around my neighborhood. You can see a lot of the fences, they're very similar. So obviously people do want to protect their properties, and they are concerned. Cook Inlet submitted also a comment. However, in the video later on shows that they have all of their new buildings surrounded by 6-foot fences. Why did they do that? It's because they want protection on their construction buildings, because they know that people are breaking in. So this is actually how I was talking about. It's measured from the inside the fence. Our grade has not changed at all. If anything, when we build the fence, we remove some of the dirt and put it back on the side of the fence in plans of putting flowers. I was told that I cannot do that unless I get a permit. which I intend to because I want to make it look nice.
Are there any more questions from the commission for the petitioner or staff? Commissioner Folland?
Through the chair, I had a question for the petitioner. The gate that you are wanting to build on the front, what materials do you see that being made out of?
Commissioner Folland, we haven't made a definite definition, so we are open to options. You know, if it could be a fence that you can still see through, that's fine with me. We just want it to be used at night. It's not something that we want to have it all day. We just want to protect for a night. And there is an opening right next to it for emergency personnel to come in if there was some emergency. So that the only reason I asked for that is because through the conversations, land and planning mentioned that if I was planning to do it, it's better to do it now that's going through the variance request than later.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. It looks like we've all asked our questions for the petitioner and of staff. Thank you. The public hearing is now closed. The matter now rests with the body. We will move and vote on the variance. May we have a motion to approve case 2024-0063? How long do I wait for a motion? We can move to postpone. Thank you. It's been moved by Commissioner Gordy. Mover, would you please state your motion? Okay.
I move in case 2024-0063 to approve a variance from AMC 2107080H3A to allow a 6-foot fence and gate and segment of an 8-foot fence within the east side setback and front setback facing Chugach Way, subject to the conditions shown on 6 of the staff report. And I intend to, no, I don't do that part yet, sorry. The end.
And it's been seconded by Commissioner Straight. Commissioner Gordy, would you please speak to your motion?
Yes, I intend to oppose the motion. I appreciate the time that the petitioner put into presenting us with all these facts and a lot of images and a lot of explanation about the property. But I do find that the findings of staff are correct and that the standards required to approve a variance are not met. And I think I'm going to turn it over to Commissioner Straight if he wants to add findings.
Commissioner Straight, would you like to speak to your second?
Yes, I would. I concur with Commissioner Gordy regarding the effort put in by the petitioner here for this variance. I to be honest, am torn in a couple different directions here. I am going to I believe, oppose this motion. However, on the grounds that I don't feel like the petition presented today warrants the variance requested. And I also concur with the findings of staff in their report.
Are there any other commissioners wishing to speak to the motion and/or add findings? I'll also kind of say that what's within our purview is the standards that we're required to make our findings on. I also do understand, the desire to put up a fence, and I feel like the fence that you put up is a beautification of what was there previously. I do, understand your desire to protect your property. I do appreciate that you took the time to go through and video the neighborhood, and, in your video, we did see other properties that did have fences that did also appear to be over the 4 feet, including on the frontage. So I do have some question on whether I agree with the findings of item E, because it does appear that there are other fences within the neighborhood that are exceeding the requirements of the zoning. So I do appreciate your effort to improve your property and to keep it safe, but our purview falls within what we're required to make the determination on. So, thank you. Are there any other commissioners? If there's no further discussion, may we have a vote on case 2024-0063? Case 2024-0063 failed with a vote of 6 and for no and 1 yes. We have no other items on the agenda this evening. Could I please get a motion to adjourn? It was moved by Commissioner Gordy. It was seconded by Commissioner Nanalo. Are there any objections? Hearing none, the meeting is adjourned at 8:22 p.m.